How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of HorseshoeHuddle.com and your favorite co-host over at the Locked On Colts podcast. The Indianapolis Colts selected safety A.J. Haulcy in round 3 of the 2026 NFL Draft, hoping to bring some stability, but also some playmaking on the back end of their defense in 2026 and beyond. And I really like this pick. I don't love it as much as I love the C.J. Allen pick, and you guys can watch the 38-minute C.J. Allen video I posted the other day, and I appreciate all the good responses to that. But with Haulcy, I do think this is a very solid pick for the Colts, and I think it's going to improve their pass defense in 2026 and beyond over what they had in previous seasons. Haulcy is a strong safety. He's got the strong safety build. He's better in split field safety looks when he's the boundary side safety, and also as a low hole defender, kind of in that hook zone area of the field. But he's a true playmaker. He's a true playmaker at that strong safety position, which is quite rare to see in the NFL with his size, stature, and his stopping power that he brings. So Haulcy, I think, is going to be a great fit alongside Cameron Bynum. And I'm excited to see what it looks like this next season with him and Bynum on the back end, and how Lou Anarumo is going to bring some versatility and different alignments with those guys back there. So today we're going to be diving into all of A.J. Haulcy's film from the last 2 years. I watched every single game from this past year that he played, along with 5 games from his Houston film back in 2024. Just to get a really good feel for what kind of player that he is and where the ups and downs really lie in his game. So before we get into the draft debrief, though, of A.J. Haulcy, I did it on the first video. I'm going to do it again here. Some pro comps that really stood out to me when watching Haulcy's film. I think a mid-level one, because this is how we did it on the other video, a mid-level pro comp would be Cameron Curl, a guy who started with the Washington Commanders and then had a really good season last year with the Los Angeles Rams en route to the NFC Championship game they went to. Very solid, strong safety player with some playmaking ability. I do like that comp quite a bit. One that I have to throw out for Colts fans, though, Anton Bethea. I know a lot of you guys have been comparing him to Bethea in recent days. A little bit different on the size, but the urgency that both players played with, the playmaking, I totally see it, so I understand where you guys are coming from. But my really high-end one that I have for A.J. Haulcy is Kevin Byard. Kevin Byard, who has turned out a really, really good career in the NFL despite being a combine snub back in the day. Led the NFL in interceptions last year, even though he was over 30 years old. He's more of a free safety, where Haulcy's more of a strong safety, but similar size and stature, similar playmaking ability, similar eyes and feel for the game. I really do like that comp, even though they have some differences there. But yeah, A.J. Haulcy, very fun player, very enjoyable player to break down on film. And we're going to dive into it all today in today's draft debrief, where I dive into all the Colts 2026 draftees and a couple undrafted free agents. Today's video is on A.J. Haulcy, the safety out of LSU. So enjoy. So in this video, we're going to talk about A.J. Haulcy's ability in different safety zone responsibilities, how he performs in these responsibilities, and we're going to start off with how he is in split zone coverage. So in split zone coverage from the safety position, it's pretty simple to explain. In these, you're going to have 2 safeties deep, so that's where you're splitting the field in half, 1 safety on one half of the field, 1 safety on the other. In this, you can have cover 2 or Tampa 2, where you're having these corners just sit in the flat, right? And then you're having these guys play over the top. But you can also have quarters coverage, where these safeties are getting, or these corners are getting deep, and the safeties are getting more of the fourth of the field rather than just half the field. But in general, it's the 2 safety high shell is what we're looking at here with split field zone coverage. And A.J. Haulcy, I think, it just is exceptional as the boundary side player in these coverage calls. So as the boundary side player, the boundary is the one that's closest to the sideline. So it's going to be the shorter side. So if the ball is on the right hash, you're going to be on the defense's left side or the offense's right side as the boundary side safety or the boundary side corner. And Haulcy is really good from this alignment because he's able to read shorter side of the field. Typically, this is the back side of the formation. So, I mean, I know on this one you have 3 passing threats to this side, but typically it's 2 passing threats to the side, maybe 1. And then it kind of lessens his area that he has to keep his eyes on, and it allows him to play quicker and more aggressive and more explosive from his playmaking safety position. But this play against Oklahoma is one of his best of last season. Oklahoma is trying to get this quick seam shot here. And I think they actually do a lot of things right on this play, where quarterback is looking left, right? And we're trying to draw, because in quarters, you're going to have the 3 underneath defenders. This guy's coming to the flat and getting underneath this route. Corner is going with this receiver here. So basically, you're trying to open up this seam shot for this guy by looking left, moving this defender out of that window, and then hitting right behind that defender, right? So I think they have a lot of the makings of a successful play here. Quarterback is just a tick late, though, getting back to the seam shot. So look at the quarterback here. He looks off the defender to the left, shoots back to the right. Defender is already opening up that side, has his window wide open here. Ball needs to be out by right now. It can't be, you know, held still at this point, because that extra tick allows for AJ Haulcy to close downhill from his quarters position. And what we love about AJ Haulcy, and what I think is probably the best part of his game, is that there's no passiveness in his game in any regard. Like, we're going to see throughout the length of this video that there's nothing passive about what he does, right? So some safeties will just sit right here. They're going to make a play on this guy. Like, once he catches it, we'll tackle him, or we'll give a good hit to him, or we'll break the ball up. Haulcy understands what's happening here, right? As his quarterback is shooting back to the seam shot, he's already shooting downhill, right? He's already getting ready to jump in that passing lane. So he's not content with just knocking this ball away or making a tackle and limiting yards after catch. He's undercutting this route. So he's got eyes on ball, eyes on quarterback, undercutting this seam route, and he makes that interception for a big-time play for his defense here, and keeps LSU in the lead late in this game. But this is just playmaker, you know, central right here. This is a guy who knows what is coming his way. He understands the seam shot is coming. He has his eyes on the player, eyes on the quarterback. So once the quarterback shoots his hips and shoots his body back to the seam shot, he understands where he needs to be from last season. We have a play here against Houston where Houston is trying to attack the Tampa 2 zone. So in Tampa 2, again, we're going to have this flat defender with the corner, and we're going to have Haulcy as that over top safety. And they're trying to get this hole shot here, right? They're trying to get this receiver into this window here, and they're going to pull this corner down and make sure he can't get depth by having this out route here. So a bit of a smash concept on the short side, on the boundary side of the field here for, I want to say this is TCU's offense here against Houston. And Haulcy does a really good job of breaking on this ball and getting the pass breakup. So when we actually show the clip here, right, we're going to get this seam shot, or this hole shot. Right, receiver does a good job of pressing inside to give himself window to shoot back outside and create more space for that quarterback to get the ball to the sideline. It's a good throw by the quarterback as well, which is why the ball is able to get to the receiver's hands. But Haulcy does a really good job of showcasing closing speed, gets his eyes on the receiver, and then he gets his hand in there and punches the ball out for the pass breakup. I know it's hard to see on this clip, but he does get the pass breakup on this play. But this is how you kind of want to play it, right, from this two-man game, right, where they're trying to do, like, they have a good call for Tampa 2 defense. They're going to get this hole shot here in between the safety and the corner, and they're getting, and smash is like the perfect response to cover 2 because you're pulling this corner up and taking away the depth. So as a safety, the best thing you can do is really close that ground in a hurry, get your hand in there and punch that ball away. Does everything he should be doing as that cover 2 safety on the boundary side there, and gets that pass breakup. Another play here against Arizona. Again, we're going to get the boundary side here. We're on the hash to the left side. He's on the defense's right, the offense's left side as well here. And we're going to get just a little bit of a high-low concept, I believe, from Arizona, where this guy, breaking inside. So it's actually a little bit of angles here that we're getting. But inside break here, I think the slot corner does a really good job of disrupting this route by getting a little bit of hands-on here and disrupting, making it have to be a little bit wider before the cut back in. So good defensive response here from this slot corner. But we see with Haulcy, right, he's not really threatened by anything vertical on this play, right, because the receiver doesn't really sell it in the disruption here. So Haulcy, instead of, again, just retreating and playing passive, like retreating, like, okay, I have all of this ground back here I have to cover, so I should be a little bit more passive and sit back. He wants to be a playmaker, right? He sits on this route. So as this guy is breaking in, he's not opening his hips and turning that way thinking, oh, it could be a post. I got to, get on my ass and get back. He's already shooting downhill to get into this passing lane here. So as we see, as this player breaks in, there's a little bit of space, but he's already driving down, eyes on quarterback, driving on this ball. So as the ball arrives, he's able to get his hand in there, punch it out, and get that pass breakup yet again on the play. And then I think, honestly, in my opinion, his best play from last season against Houston last year, this was against Florida last year, as an LSU safety. This was just phenomenal all around. So he's going to be here at the top of the screen. And again, we're on the boundary side on the hash mark. They're trying to get this little high-low concept. We're going to get this in-breaking route, and this is going to stay underneath and then be like a little whip route to the outside to just bring the eyes down here, open up that window behind the linebackers, behind the guys in coverage here, And Haulcy, again, as the split field safety, you would think be a little passive, sit back. You don't know if something vertical is coming, but he reads this all the way. So as this receiver is breaking inside, has a little separation from the corner, this guy's sucked up because of this route here from the tight end. He's moving out of that window to open up space behind. Haulcy is committing, right? So this ball is about to be released by the quarterback. He's already committing downhill, right? He's shooting. He's got his key. He knows what is coming here from the quarterback. He is flying downhill in a hurry, and he's able to get right in front of that window. So as the quarterback tries to lead his receiver, throws his receiver open, Haulcy beats the receiver to the spot here. So again, you see the closing speed. The closing speed is outstanding on this play from Haulcy, but it's the recognition. It's the ability to see the two-man route concept coming his way, right? A very common backside route concept is this high-low, right? We're going to get this high-low. We're going to get defenders sucking down here, so that way you're going to have an opening behind them. And that's a very common way to attack these kind of zone coverage calls. But Haulcy understands what he needs to do, right? He understands exactly what the offense is trying to do on this play. So he gets a running start, jumps this route, and gets that interception. This is a true playmaker in split field safety looks. So I think, honestly, this is where he's at his best. And in an NFL where they're doing a lot more core, biggest strength is just his ability as this split field safety to the boundary side. He really takes away a lot of passing concepts and makes plays on the football. So this is really where like the biggest strength of AJ Haulcy's game lies. But as we're going to talk about in a second, he's pretty darn good in some other zone assignments as well from his safety position. The next type of coverage I really want to highlight with AJ Haulcy is his ability as the low zone defender or the hook zone defender, or just kind of as a box safety, right? The traditional box safety that we think about with strong safeties is this safety coming up and playing more around the line of scrimmage, right? So being more so in this zone down here at the second level of the defense rather than the third level of the defense. I will, for full transparency, I did include, I think, one man coverage route in here, but I just wanted to showcase his ability playing forward as a safety in coverage rather than playing backwards. And you will see in a couple of these clips exactly what I'm talking about. But this one I think is a great example here against Houston. AJ Haulcy actually mentioned this as one of his favorite plays from college in that interview that he gave with the Colts after being drafted. And it's a really cool coverage concept that we actually see here from Houston, where they're going to run this like inverted cover two, where this safety is going to drop and be the deep split field safety. This guy's going to drop back and be the other split field safety. And we're going to see Haulcy just sink into this low zone hole and be that like low hole defender here. And the quarterback tries to look him off, does a really good job, I think, of looking to the right side here. We're going to showcase the quarterback's eyes going to this side to move Haulcy out of the window. Haulcy does actually open up a little bit and goes that way to kind of bait the quarterback. But once the quarterback comes back to the left side and tries to hit this seam route, Haulcy is right there, jumps in front, and gets that interception on the play. So let's run the clip and show exactly what I am talking about here. So again, Haulcy, this is an invert cover two. So again, invert cover two, the corner is dropping into that deep split field zone. This guy's dropping into a split field zone. And Haulcy moves with the quarterback's eyes, right? Quarterback looks right, moves Haulcy a little bit out of that window, and the quarterback wants to hit right here, wants to hit right behind this defender's kind of looking up here. This defender's opening outside. He has that window that he wants to hit right here, but Haulcy is all over it. Eyes are on quarterback, understands like, hey, after he opened up this way, he's driving on this because he knows what is coming from his film study and from his film assignments here, and he's going to jump that route, gets right in that window, gets the interception, high-level interception, playmaking interception from Haulcy, doesn't get baited by the quarterback's eyes. Again, quarterback opens up correctly, does what he's supposed to do, but Haulcy is with him all the way, gets right in front. Quarterback maybe a little bit late throwing that football as well because he wanted to see him clear this depth here, but Haulcy does a really great job of getting that interception on the play, and that's just a playmaker's play right there, right? Putting him in that low zone, putting him a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage at that second level of the defense rather than the third level, and we see the playmaking ability really show up there. So again, the passiveness is never there in his game. He's an urgent, and aggressive player. We see here, I think this is the man coverage rep that I wanted to show you guys. It's another inverted cover two call, but it's cover two man invert. So we're going to get this guy bailing into that deep zone. We're going to get deep zone here. and it's kind of wonky how they do it. I think this guy comes over here and covers there, and Haulcy's going to shoot down and cover strong side 3 here, this slot receiver, and cover him in man coverage. So it's a really interesting design here from LSU's defense. I really like it, actually. I don't know how feasible it is to run it often. But see, we get the bailout here, and then everyone's opening up to their new threat. So yeah, this guy's covering here, this guy's covering here. We're getting a little bit of a blitz here. Really cool coverage call. But essentially what they're doing here with these two guys is 7 is taking out-breaking route here. Haulcy's going to take in-breaking route, and that's how they're going to pass that off. So Haulcy matches that in-breaking route, comes flying down from that selling the middle field safety pre-snap, comes flying down, opens his hips to this player, and then you see him drive on the ball and get the pass breakup on the play. So I know this isn't exactly like a low hole type zone that he's playing here because he's playing more man, but you see just how confident he is, playing closer to the line of scrimmage and coverage, coming downhill from his safety spot, and getting that pass breakup on the play as well out of a really cool coverage call from LSU's defense. I know I'm nerding out a little bit about that. Another thing I just like about Haulcy, though, is just when he is coming down to play in that whole zone defender, robber zone defender, whatever you want to call it, he doesn't just get to his spot and sit there, right? He's not covering grass, right? It's what we always hear out of players who don't like playing in zone coverage. So here we're going to get cover 1 robber. So we're going to get man coverage across the board from all these guys. So man coverage across the board, right? And we're going to get this guy dropping into the deep zone, and we're going to get Haulcy coming over and covering the middle of the field as that robber over the middle. And this is something the Colts love to call on third downs last season. They love calling this with Bynum as a strong safety and Rodney Thomas as the free, with Nick Cross playing that star position. We'll see a lot of that this year, but Haulcy can play that strong safety position because he's so good as this robber over the middle of the field. So what we're going to see Vanderbilt do is they actually have a good call for man coverage. They're going to just motion this guy pre-snap, and we're going to try to get him on this little spot into the middle of the field. And the goal is to get this guy to run through all the traffic, get stuck in the traffic, and get this receiver open over the middle of the field, and then he can run after catch away to the boundary side of the defense. But Haulcy does a really good job of reading this, and he's not just getting to his spot and standing there, right? He's reading what concept the offense wants to do. So look, his eyes are shooting to that motion the motion receiver, right? He understands that, hey, that's probably the guy they want to get involved in this passing play. He's got his eyes on him. So as that player breaks in the middle of the field, Haulcy's providing support to that corner that was getting picked on the play, which is Mansour Delay in a top 5 or top 6 pick, I guess, in this past draft. So he's providing support. He is helping to that inside of that receiver, making sure that receiver can't get the opening. So then as that receiver opens up, we have 2 defenders now. We have Delane, who's finally caught up and closing over the traffic, and then Haulcy, who's taking away that option for the quarterback. Now, Diego Pavia does his thing and runs around in circles and gets a completion on the play, but that's good robber coverage from Haulcy that you want to see. Another example of good robber coverage from him over the middle of the field, I think this is more of a zone coverage call. Yeah, this is more cover 3, so he's going to be more of like the cloud defender coming downhill on the boundary side. But again, what we see with Ole Miss is they like to do like a lot of these spacing routes, right? Just have guys run to open spaces against zone, and you're going to find that weak spot in the zone. And Haulcy does a really good job of, again, we're not just covering grass right here. We're not just going to sit here. We're going to get to our spot, eyes on the quarterback, and see where the quarterback wants to go with this football. So as the quarterback commits to this little spacing route to the top of the screen, to the short side of the screen, Haulcy is already in that window. Quarterback has to try to throw his receiver away from where Haulcy is. It's an off-target throw, and the ball ends up falling incomplete because of Halsey's positioning as a defender. And this one technically counts. I know he's technically like the deep center fielder on this, but he's more at that second level of the defense because it's in the red zone. But again, just look at his eyes here as a zone defender. He's watching quarterback's eyes. Quarterback does not really try to move Haulcy whatsoever. This is just a bad quarterback rep where they're trying to get this double move, right? So the tight end is coming off here. He's selling the out route, and then he's going to peel off to the back of the end zone. If you're the quarterback, you have to look this way to get Haulcy moving that way first, because Halsey's got too good of eyes, too good of a feel in coverage. And so if you're not going to look him off, he's going to take this ball away. So quarterback staring down the double move the entire way, tries to fit it in the back of the end zone. Halsey's already moving with the quarterback's eyes, moving with the ball, takes that football away, and gets the big return back to the 25 to get his team out of the danger zone. So I think you see the playmaking from being like this hook zone, low hole zone defender with Haulcy, but you also see the positioning and the ability to take away what offenses want to do to with their spacing as an offense. So I just think that he's really good as this kind of defender, and this is what the strong safety is asked to do in Lou Anarumo's system or just really in any NFL system. So Haulcy as a strong safety, I think, is an excellent fit with the Colts. You're going to get playmaking. You're going to get more of an Colts general manager Chris Ballard talked about when they drafted AJ Haulcy. I'm sorry, am I boring you a little bit? When they drafted AJ Haulcy, that they also envisioned him as a guy who could play a little bit deep as well as like that middle center fielder type safety. And while I don't share Chris Ballard's same like enthusiasm for him in that role, I do think he's more capable of it than some people have given him credit for in this pre-draft process. It's not his like biggest strength by any means, but I certainly think that there are opportunities for him to succeed as a deep center fielder safety as well. So we're going to see here against Texas A&M. All right, yeah, you can go. As Texas A&M, he's going to be that deep center fielder on this play. And essentially he's going to open up and he's going to, open up like he's helping to the play strength side of the field. But as this becomes a scramble situation for Texas A&M's quarterback gets out of the pocket. We see Haulcy. Haulcy doesn't just sit back here and be passive. And again, this is going to be the motif of this video, right? This is going to be the overall theme of this video is Haulcy plays with urgency and aggressiveness at the safety position, because instead of sitting back and making sure nobody gets deep, he drives on this tight end who is free behind the zone defense here. So as zone defenders are moving with the quarterback and crashing down, trying to contain the scramble, this cornerback is coming down as well. We're going to see Haulcy cover up their weaknesses on the backside, take away that tight end who is running free. He's able to get the pass breakup here by diving underneath and knocking that football away. Another play here against Western Kentucky late in the season. And I think this is where he really is strong as a deep center fielder safety. This is probably his strongest aspect, is when teams want to run these like play action rollouts, right? So with play action rollouts, you're going to play fake and the quarterback's going to move to one side of the field. And when a quarterback moves to one side of the field, it typically means everything is flowing that way, right? Like this is not the exact route design by any means. This is me just showing an example of when that quarterback rolls this way, you're typically going to have everybody roll this way as well, because it's not really feasible to have a quarterback throw it from over here all the way across the field. That's like an 80-yard pass, right? So when a quarterback is rolling out here, which we're going to run the clip just a little bit to show that, Haulcy does have a good feel where, like, look, this quarterback's rolling to one side of the field. He understands he needs to open up and roll that way as well. And then it becomes something more feasible for him as that deep safety, where if he's a deep center fielder having to cover both sides of the field, he doesn't really have that kind of range. But if he can open up and then it becomes more of like a split field safety type thing, that is where he is at his strength. So if you look here, what we see from Western Kentucky is they want to get this isolation here and just throw the ball into the corner here with all this space to work to the far side of the field, to the open side of the field. And that's what they're waiting on. But Haulcy does a really good job of reading that. He's playing his deep center field safety role the way that you want to, and he rolls over the top of this. So by the time this receiver gets some separation from this corner, and it's not a ton because Western Kentucky versus LSU, but by the time he does get a little bit of separation, Haulcy's already over top of that route. There's just no window to throw this football without it being an interceptable pass, so the quarterback has to throw the football away. So when Haulcy's playing that deep center field zone, I think he's at his best when his corners are dropping deep as well, so like cover 3 type stuff or like man coverage type things, and he can be more aggressive in the middle of the field, or when it's a play action rollout play and they're going to just work with half of the field, because then he can essentially become like a split field safety again. So we see on this play here where Alabama's trying to attack the middle of the field. Corners are dropping deep. This is a cover 3 look from LSU's defense, right? So these corners are getting deep. So Haulcy doesn't really have to worry too much about the vertical things over top with these cornerbacks getting depth. So he's keeping his eyes to the middle of the field. So as this ball is thrown to the middle of the field, Haulcy's not being passive, right? He's not sitting back. He's not drifting on this play. He's already setting his feet. So quarterback hasn't even committed to throw yet, but he sees his in-breaker coming. Haulcy is shooting downhill and getting that running start. And with his stopping power and with his speed, this just becomes a big-time hit against the becomes a big-time hit against the Alabama pass catcher. And this is probably my favorite clip from him as like that center fielder safety, because we see, again, with so many safeties in the NFL even, and also at the college level, where their assignments back here, they're going to sit back there, and then they'll just make the safe tackle right here. But Haulcy is going to take risks. He's going to fly to the football. He's going to come downhill. Big-time stopping power with that hit. Big-time pass breakup over the middle of the field. And this is what you want to see from your safety. That's the kind of safety play I like to see, at least. That's aggression. That's like restrained aggression, right? He's not leading with the head, but also getting that pass breakup on the play. Outstanding football from AJ Haulcy on that play. Another one over the top here. I think this is another play action rollout. Again, a little play action to the running back. He's going to roll out, so we're going to just cut this field in half. And Haulcy does a really good job of splitting the difference between these two players. So as this guy's breaking deep, he's splitting the difference because he's also keeping an eye on this receiver coming across. And he understands, like, hey, this is a college quarterback, right? Quarterback's not going to just stop on a dime and throw it all the way over here. So instead of relating to the deepest threat, he's going to move with the quarterback's eyes, stay in this window here, so there's just nothing on this deep crosser. Quarterback really just has nothing, has to throw it short and throw it out of bounds. So yes, Haulcy is a little bit more limited as a deep center fielder safety. It's why I view him more as a strong safety than a free safety in this draft with his playmaking skills. But when you do roll him back there as a free safety and you give him a little bit of help on the outside so he doesn't have to cover sideline to sideline, and he can either just mug the middle of the field and attack that middle of the field, or he's just working over the top against play action rollouts, that is where I see the strength here. So I think he's got the capability to rotate back to be a free safety on occasion. You don't do it every single play, obviously, but if you're asking him to do it in a pinch or asking him to do it every now and then just to disguise your defense, he can give you some clips like this where it's like, okay, cool. Like, he can play some free safety as well. So that is all the clips we have so far on just his ability in zone coverage. We're going to talk more about his physicality and his run defense next, but overall, his ball skills and his ability to move with quarterbacks and understand route concepts, you guys can see it in the first 20 minutes or so of this video, just how exceptional he is from that strong safety position, and even a little bit from the free safety position as well. All right, so we spent a good 20 to 25 minutes talking all about AJ Haulcy as a zone defender and just in coverage in general. So I think we feel pretty good, at least about those aspects of his game. But what about run defense? What about run fits and run angles? That's going to be the next part of the equation. And while I don't think Haulcy is as good as Nick Cross is in this area, where Cross with his physicality, his consistency, his speed is probably one of the 5 to 10 best run defending safeties in football, I think Haulcy does do a lot of good in run defense. Now, we're going to talk about some of the issues to close out this video as well, because there certainly are some issues in run defense and tackling in general with him. But I do think his run fits and his angles are generally pretty good from his safety position, especially from more of like a split safety or around the box. It can be a little bit dicey when he's like that deep center fielder coming up to fit. But here we're going to get just a little bit of a spill defense here from Houston, where this guy's going to shoot inside. So when this blocker is going to meet this player is purposely going to shoot inside of that block. So as he shoots inside, it pushes this run vertical, or pushes this run horizontal, excuse me. This guy, if he wants to get vertical, it can get tackled, but it pushes this run horizontal. So if you're going to spill it, right, this guy's doing his job. It's on that next player, which is Haulcy here, to make sure that he has that outside contained, that he's replacing him on the line of scrimmage and making that tackle in space. And as we see here, when I run the full clip, Haulcy is able to make that tackle before the running back is able to get into the end zone. So again, this guy's going to shoot inside of that block, spill that run to the outside, and then Haulcy is able to make that tackle on the boundary. Really nice tackle there. Here against TCU, when he's still with Houston, we're going to see him fit the run here to the outside. I think he runs the alley pretty well here. You know, again, you could maybe ask for a little bit more speed from him, but runs the alley pretty well, makes that tackle at the second level, good stopping power to get the running back down. I think that's a good run fit from him from his deep safety position, stuff you really want to see there. This one's actually really strong, I think, against Florida, one of his better clips in run defense last season. LSU versus Florida, we're going to get Jake Slaughters trying to climb up here and get a block on him. And instead of waiting for the block and then trying to shed the block, he changes the angle and makes the angle a lot tougher for the center. So as the center is climbing, instead of waiting, Haulcy is getting closer and closer to the line of scrimmage to make this a tighter angle for Slaughter to reach him, which causes Slaughter to miss this block on the play, and Haulcy is able to fit this run and get the tackle here. So again, he's running up to the line of scrimmage. Slaughter it's too tight of an angle for him to reach him there, so he just barely gets a hand on him, and Halsey's able to get that hand off, get free, and make this tackle for a very short gain on the play. This is a good run fit. This is a good job of just getting in his game. Another one here against Vanderbilt. Now, you're not going to see many of these speed options in the NFL, but again, you want to see the guys show the ability to run the alley here. So this guy's going to undercut, and we're going to kind of spill this run a little bit to the outside. Haulcy does a really good job of getting to that edge in a hurry, making sure that he is filling that lane and getting that running back down for a very short gain and keeping the guy out of the end zone yet again on that play. Another play here, we're going to see him just filling from that deep safety position. He's able to get closer to the line of scrimmage. He's going to come in here and fill. I think this is like in the B gap here. And he's going to fill with good aggression, good speed, and beat his guy to the spot and get the tackle close to the line of scrimmage yet again, right? So he's unblocked, gets there, fits in there, not showing any like passiveness, not showing any unwillingness to get his head in there and tackle, and gets that running back down for a very short gain on the play yet again. And then one more play here against, I think this is against Arkansas around the line of scrimmage here. We're going to get a little bit of a read option type of run where we're going to have this lead blocker out in space, and the running back's trying to bounce this behind that lead blocker. I think Haulcy does a really good job of taking on this block, and watch the hands that Haulcy shows here to get off the block, right? So he's moving laterally with this block, and he's going to just get this tight end's hands off him in a hurry and then fit that run really well. So watch the hands from Haulcy as I play the clip again. Just beats the guy to the spot, quickly beats the hands, keeps that outside contained. So now running back either has to just shoot his head inside here or stop his feet and try to move back because he's not going to win to the corner. And Haulcy's able to just get his feet down and make that tackle for a very minimal gain here. So while tackling is an issue for Haulcy, and again, we'll close out the video talking about his tackling issues and why there are some things to really work on there. I do think that he showcases good angles and good pursuit and good willingness to fit the run as a safety. And I think that's like half the battle, honestly, as a safety, right? There are some guys who just don't have the willingness to put their hammer. So once he gets more of the tackling form down a little bit better, which we'll talk about again to close out all this, I do think that he'll be a fine run defender for the Colts. But he shows the willingness. He gets his head in there. He fits really hard. He can get blocks off him with good hands. I think there's a lot to work with here in run defense. So I'm not horribly concerned about run defense in general. But again, in our final segment, we'll talk more about tackling, which is the next step of the equation. One more major positive we have to talk about in AJ Haulcy's game is his legit stopping power as an enforcer at the second level or third level of the defense. When he lines you up properly and he gets a running start into his hit, he's going to make you pay. I mean, we can look at some of these clips and just look at how powerful he is behind those shoulder pads. So this hit here, we're going to get an outbreaking route from the tight end. So Haulcy is going to be just closing in down here. He's the hook zone defender, and he's just going to attack after the tight end makes the catch. And this tight end is going backwards after making this catch here. So he flows downhill. That tight end is just falling on his back there, out of bounds. Big time hit. Show just the shoulder too. That's not even anything like crazy with that kind of hit, but you see that he's able to stop the momentum of a ball carrier going forward and knock him on his back. That's a 260-pound tight end right there, just put on his back. This one is probably the biggest hit of his college career, or at least of last season. Here, another little speed option from Vanderbilt. They love doing this with Pavia in that offense last year. And as this defender goes under and forces this running back towards the sideline, Haulcy finishes it with just a massive, massive hit. I mean, right there, lines it up perfectly, shoulder right into the chest, and look at how this running back just goes flying into the sidelines. Boom. That is real stopping power right there. Again, it reminds everybody of the Bob Sanders and Anton Bethea type days of old with hits like that. That's a big time hit right there on the sideline. Another one here where Pavia is trying to win the race to the sideline with yet another speed option. Okay, look, we're never going to see speed option in the NFL. We're seeing a bunch of them on this film, but Haulcy is closing from the backside here. He's going to get like the second crack at Pavia, but as Pavia is trying to reach across the goal line, Haulcy is the guy who meets him there at the one, and he's able just to turn the quarterback back. I know it's not impressive to hit a 5'4" quarterback like this, but just a big time hit to turn the ball around, keep that ball out of the end zone. I know Vanderbilt scores on like the next play, but I mean, look, this is a touchdown saving play from him here with that big time stopping power and big time hit on that play. Another one here against Ole Miss. This one's actually a big time gain for Ole Miss, but you're able to see the crack, just the hit that Haulcy delivers here, forces the fumble near the goal line here. So number 19 gets open, breaks free. He gets contacted by the other safety, but Haulcy comes in not only with a powerful hit, but he comes in with that peanut punch. You can see it a little bit here. I wish I could zoom in a little bit, but right there you can see that peanut punch coming down. A big pop, knocks that ball out. LSU recovers, receiver still on the ground after the play because of the big hit. So massive play by Haulcy to turn the tide of the game in that point. But it's because of that stopping power, because of that power behind his pads, because of his enforcer mentality for his tracks. So yeah, I mean, there's not too much to say here from like an analysis standpoint, just more so when he lines up his target and he gets his shoulder where it needs to be, guys go backwards, guys stop. You know, he is a powerful player at 215, allegedly around 220 when he plays during the season. He is a big time hitter and he throws his body around, right? He's not going to play passive whatsoever. So he's going to put that shoulder pad into your chest when they grew up watching football or just watching football in the early 2000s in general. Now to close out yet another behemoth of a video here on my channel, AJ Haulcy is not a perfect player. There's a reason why he fell to round 3 in this draft, and part of it is his very high missed tackle rate. He misses a lot of tackles from his safety position, and I do think some of them are from some bad angles that he takes and just, you know, being a little over aggressive from that like center fielder. Like when he's coming downhill from a center field safety position and a running back is coming right at him and has that like two-way go, he does overcommit sometimes, which we'll talk about in one or two of the clips here. But overall, I think a lot of it is just bad tackling posture where it's like just square up the runner and get him out of bounds, right? But here, like he does overcommit a little bit here. But like, why are we swiping at the foot here? You're a 220-pound safety. Like, let's square him up and get him out of bounds. Like, we don't need to be, side swiping the foot here and trying to get him down that way. This results in another like 10 yards gained for the offense on this play. Should have been down at the, like the 32, 33. Instead, he gets closer. Okay, it's like 7 yards gained on that play. I'm being a little hyperbolic. But still, like, we don't need to be swiping at the feet here. You know, stay on your feet, stay square, and just drive into his chest. So a little bit over aggressive on the angle there, but I think he was in fine position. He just ended up swiping with his hand there. Another one here, he's at the free safety position here at the second or third level of the defense. Running back breaks through the line. He breaks down. I think he's broken down pretty fine here, but look at just the poor tackling form here, right? Where he breaks down, they're meeting each other right here. He's in a good position to make this tackle, but he drops the eyes, drops the head, and lunges forward instead of really trying to square up this tackle. And by the time he's meeting this running back, right, his head is almost on the ground. He's barely getting an arm on him, just a really weak arm tackle. And again, leads to another 5 to 10 extra yards for the offense here. So there's no reason that this becomes a missed tackle here. This is just bad tackling form and bad tackling posture. You want to see him just get up there and stay a little bit more square in the tackling. But plays like this are more so about the angles that he's taking. We're here, again, a little bit of a two-way go with the running back. He's overcommitting, thinking the running back is going to continue his trajectory towards the sideline. So he overcommits and overruns this play, runs past the running back, and then as the running back cuts back, he's in a poor position to make a tackle and has to just swipe at the running back's legs, and the running back is able to, again, get another extra 10 yards on it. But a clip like this is what I really wanted to show for some of his bad tackling form that I think the Colts really need to work on with him, whether it's just individual work that they get in with him on how to square up a tackle. I know in the past, like the Seattle Seahawks have done a really good job of grooming their young players into being better with their tackling mechanics. The Colts, I think, have done it in some areas, but I do think that Haulcy is a guy you really want to get in the right place with this, because this is a play I'm looking at in particular, right, where we're breaking down. We have potential contact about to happen here. You can just get your head across the shoulder, get your arms to wrap up, and get the guy down on the ground. But look at how he's engaging this tackle, right? He's dropping his head, getting his head out of that contact. I mean, it's fine to not get your head in the contact, right? We don't want the head to be involved, but dropping the eyes completely. We're missing with the arms here. We're just throwing that shoulder at him, and it's all reliant on the other guy to make the tackle here. So it's just poor mechanics here. And why are we going so low, right? Like, this is a quarterback. Like, you're a 220-pound safety, right? Like, keep your head up, get your head across the chest of the player, wrap up, and get him on the ground. Instead, we just see this poor tackling form that it's dangerous too, right? It's dangerous to drop your head forward like that, because this guy cuts back out and your eyes are down. It leaves your head and your neck in a very dangerous position. I believe from watching my film last year, Haulcy left like 2 or 3 games, not early, but he left for a handful of plays to get checked out on the sideline because of nagging injuries. And it's because he's a little bit reckless with his tackling form and his tackling mechanics. So if he can clean that up, like, the projection for him gets so much better. He's probably a second-round player if he's a little bit better with his tackling mechanics and his tackling form overall. But because this is so prevalent on his film, because he has a high missed tackle rate, because this has happened at Houston and it happened at LSU, it is a concern that NFL teams probably had. But it should be an easy fix, right? Just get with him in individual and get with him on the tackling dummies and get with him in practice on how to, clean it up and keep his head up. But it certainly is a big concern of him going into his rookie season. And then one more thing I wanted to make a point of, just because I want to make sure I had it said. Sometimes with his eyes, he is a little bit too urgent and active with them, and he loses track of his assignment by trying to guess and really counter what the offense is doing. Here, I believe what we're going to see is a play action to this side here, and we're going to see this tight end leak out. And this tight end's going to sell blocking and then late release after selling that blocking, right? And LSU is going to be in man coverage across the board, right? So we're going to get this man coverage where Haulcy is on this guy who's selling blocking and then peeling out afterwards. And, to Haulcy's credit, his eyes always work and he's never covering grass and he's making sure that, he's trying to read what the offense is doing here, but they kind of take advantage of that, right? Because as this guy just comes out in the flat, Haulcy moves off of his own man coverage guy and comes over here to help in the flat, thinking that this is just going to be a play action throw to the flat right here, and they're going to try to get some run after catch. So Haulcy wants to be in that position to help right here, but because he completely neglects his assignment by trying to stay ahead of what the offense is doing, this guy, after faking that block, peels out into across the field, wide open. Haulcy is left just not covering his own guy, and it leads to a massive gain for Vanderbilt. So there are times where you want to see a little bit more patience in his game, maybe still keep an eye on that player, but instead he already is moving on to that flat here and trying to fit in here and help against that backside. And as a result, it leaves his other guy wide open across the field and leads to a big gain for Vanderbilt. So there are a couple instances like that on film with him that I think could be cleaned up, but it's the age-old thing that we always talk about where it's taming the gunslinger versus trying to up some of the tackles at the second and third level where he's going with his arm to players' feet. Let's be a little bit more consistent with it, and let's make sure the tackling form is head up, head across the chest, making sure that we are wrapping up completely and wrapping up a little bit higher than their ankles. And then I think that he can be a very good rookie safety. But overall, if there was anything that you get from this entire video, I think Haulcy is going to be a big improvement for the Colts in coverage in year one, whether it's as a deep middle zone cover guy, whether it's a mid zone guy in the low hole or hook zone area, whether it's as a split field safety. He's going to be a big upgrade in coverage overall. And I think that he's going to bring some of that enforcer mentality and some of those the ability to fit against the run. Again, there's going to be some missed tackles here and there, but I think he's going to fit with a lot of aggressive. AJ Haulcy's fit in Lou Anarumo's defense. I think he's going to bring some playmaking and some ball skills on the back end, and him and Cameron Bynum should be a lot of fun in 2026, and I guess in the years beyond that as well.